Hello, Jim here. Selling options is a great way to make extra income, and when you pair it with retirement, you can really retire a lot sooner than you ever thought possible. Today, I want to share with you my plans for retirement, some recent changes I made to my retirement account, so stay tuned. I think you're really going to enjoy what I have for you. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is just to share with my members and subscribers the changes I've recently made with my retirement accounts. It's pretty complex, so let me kind of start from the beginning. About 3 months ago, I did a comparison of my 401k at Fidelity. It was an old 401k from AT&T when I used to work there. And I compared that with selling options in my IRA at Schwab. And I was able to do better selling options in my IRA. A fair amount, too. I was probably close to maybe 5 to 6% on a yearly basis. So at that time, I decided I wanted to take my 401k and roll it into an IRA. It's something I thought about doing, but I felt like my 401k from AT&T at Fidelity was a good one, and it was pretty good. I did pretty good over the many years it was there, over the 20 years. But at that point, I decided, well, I'm going to go ahead and move it. So that's what I did. And then at first, I did a bunch of videos about the account. I believe it was right around 220, 230. And so I started trading in that account. And then I started looking at the rate of return I could get at Fidelity versus Schwab. Now, I could get a really good return also at Schwab, but I had to move it into a money market account and then move it back out if I wanted to sell cash secured puts or vertical put credit spreads. And that was especially true with retirement accounts. There was no easy way to, sell a cash secured put. I literally had to move it out of my money market, and then I could make the trade, and then potentially I might have to move some back. So it became a lot of moving money around in different places. And usually it took 24 to 48 hours to move that money around. Whereas at Fidelity, they have what's called a true swap account. So any cash I have in that account earned interest right around 5%. I think it's like 4.98 or 4.96%. So, and the fact that it was a true swap account, it really made things easy. And so I decided I'd rather have everything over there. So about 2 months ago, I started the process of moving all my retirement accounts from Schwab over to Fidelity. At the time, I had an IRA at Schwab, I had a Roth at Schwab, and a SEP account at Schwab. And I decided I first moved my IRA from Schwab into the same IRA at Fidelity, and that worked out well. I did run into some issues. It took a little bit longer than I thought it would have taken. I've also had to contact Fidelity to fix a couple of the spreads so that they were set up correctly. Next, I moved my Roth account. I had to open up a new account at Fidelity, another Roth, and just simply move the Roth from Schwab over to Fidelity. And similar process. It didn't take too long. It did take, I think, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, where at first I thought it would take a week or two, but they were real professional. Things were fairly easy to move over. And then finally I moved my SEP. Now, I thought the SEP was going into a new account, but it went directly into my IRA, the same IRA, which I was worried at first that I could not do that, but after talking to the support people there, it's no problem doing that. So, and especially the fact that it's an older SEP account, which is an IRA account, really, just you can run it with your business. So it was not a big deal. So now I actually have only one IRA account at Fidelity, and it's the combination of 3 accounts. And then I have one Roth account also at Fidelity where I don't have any other Roths, and I'll probably move more money into the Roth out of the IRA potentially, depending on, how things work out each year, what my tax bite might look like. So the end result is now I have all my retirement accounts at Fidelity and all my taxable accounts at Schwab. And the reason I decided to keep my taxable accounts at Schwab is I like Schwab. I like their interface. I like Thinkorswim. I like their research stuff a little bit better. So I've been happy with them. And there's a little bit more flexibility with taxable accounts versus retirement accounts. I can run cash secured puts and still have that extra cash in a money market, whereas I could not do that with a retirement account. So that's the main reason. And over 3 months, I was able to do all that. And it is making it a little bit easier. Now I've got, I think, 4 accounts versus 6 or 7 accounts. So it's making it a little bit easier to manage. Now, it's been a little bit of a learning curve learning how to use Fidelity, but I like them just as much as Schwab. And what's been interesting, and I guess they manage this on purpose, my Fidelity, there's actually a local office, and it's right next to my Schwab office. So they're both 15 minutes from here, and I can literally walk from one to the other, which is kind of surprising. I think they do it on purpose. So again, the main reason was being able to earn that 4.9, I think I have here 4.99%. And I verified that, and it's worked out well. So it gives me, kind of a starting basis. I can definitely earn that amount. Now you may ask, well, what if rates go down? What if they do major cuts and we're back at 2%? I don't think that's going to happen. I think it was the CPI came out today, and it was, again, higher than what was expected. So I don't know that the Fed's going to cut anytime soon. I'm still thinking probably June and maybe 3/4 point cuts. But if inflation keeps increasing like it has recently, they may surprise the market and decide to do another increase. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I still think come June or July, we're probably going to start maybe 2 to 3/4 point cuts. So the 4.99% is not going to go away. If they cut it by 1/4, of course, the 4.99 will probably go down by 1/4. So maybe instead of 4.99, I'm earning, something like 4.25 or 4.29 or something along those lines. So it does make it worth it to, get those kind of money market rates. So, and that, I just wanted to share that because that when you see that cash being deposited every month, and it usually happens at the end of the month with Fidelity, it's really nice to see that occurring. Now, with that being said, now I have like 2 accounts. I have around 400 in my regular IRA, at Fidelity, and then I have around 60,000 in my Roth account. And then my goal on a monthly basis is to pull out about 4,600 or be able to earn about 4,600 by selling options. And that's doing safe option strategies. That's cash secured puts, vertical put credit spreads, and covered calls. Now, it's about 1% a month is what I'm showing here, but I could definitely probably do better than that. I like to share with people that I've been able to make up to 3% on a monthly basis, but on average, I make maybe about 1.5%. For this video, I wanted to just share with you what it looks like if it's just 1%. I like to trade options and make the extra premium in a safe way, in a very passive way. I do 1 or 2 trades. I haven't even had a chance to do a trade today, but I may do 2 tomorrow to reach my goal, my weekly goal. So I start out with a monthly goal, and then I just divide it by 4 to come up with a weekly goal, and then again divide it by 5 to come up with a daily goal. And that's worked out. My weekly goal currently is around $1,600 a month, and that's all my accounts. Or no, $1,600 a week, which I believe is $6,400 a month. And that's been my goal for probably 3 or 4 months. And I've been able to reach it. Actually, I believe I've beaten it a number of times. So I just wanted to share that. As always, I also wanted to mention, if you're curious about my memberships, the spreadsheet I'm going to share at the end of this video, I will also share with my membership. If you want to learn more, there'll be details in the description. You can take a look. I have 3 types of memberships. I have what I call my investor club, trader club, and now my coaching club. I've renamed my trader club to coaching club. 2 of them are you can get a week for free. The coaching club, I no longer provide it for free, mainly because it's pretty near full. And then I did have a few people who signed up and then signed up for meetings with me and never showed up. And, I'm a consultant too, so that impacts me. I plan my day around a lot of these coaching calls, and I have usually several a day, and I really enjoy talking with people. So And I like giving that kind of help at a very inexpensive price. My competitors are a lot more expensive. So, that being said, the big picture is the fact that if all you had was a 401k or an IRA and you weren't selling options, you wouldn't have that additional premium every month. And, being able to earn it in kind of an easy, safe fashion has made a big difference. Now, in addition to that, you also have the interest that I've talked about before, which can be pretty substantial. In the spreadsheet at the end, you'll see how big that amount really is. And then I also have dividends. So now that I've merged these 3 accounts into one IRA and I have a Roth, I do have quite a few investments in those accounts that are earning pretty good dividends, and I'll share that too in this spreadsheet. And I also wanted to mention, in this, since I do have a lot of cash, my original account that I converted from a 401k is mostly cash still. So I am still running the wheel, and the wheel is, a pretty simple process. You sell a cash secured put, meaning someone will pay you money for the opportunity to sell you some stock. So you sell that cash secured put, you bring in some premium. If it gets assigned to you, then you sell a covered call. And both of these are closer to the money, meaning the strike is fairly close to the current price of the stock. And then, so by selling the call, you're selling the opportunity for someone to buy your stock. So you're saying, hey, for this amount, give me $100 and you can buy my stock. And again, if it happens and they do end up being called away from you, then you can actually start the whole process. Now, I do make it a little bit different. I call it my altered wheel strategy. I do, especially for puts, if I can buy a put that's further out and turn it into a vertical put credit spread, I typically will. And you'll be amazed sometimes. If you look, I like to do $10 spreads, and that just means the put I sell, say it's a $20 stock, would be, one price, and then the put I purchase would be $10 less than that price. So let's say the strike I sell is at 20, and then the strike I purchase would be at 10. And you'll be amazed how inexpensive a lot of times those puts are to purchase. So it's just kind of a safety factor. If the market does a major dive, you're protected on the downside. So, and I encourage people to do that. Another interesting strategy that I've recently started to do is what I call the poor man's covered call. In certain instances, there's great opportunities to buy calls, especially if a stock you think is going to continue to grow. Instead of buying the underlying security, you can actually buy the call. And as that stock continues to go up, that call becomes worth more and more. And then you have the choice of it being assigned to you, and you own those shares. You would still have to pay for the amount of the strike that you purchase. So if it's a $10 call that you purchase, you'd still have to pay $10 for those shares. But if those shares are worth 30, then you just bought a stock for $10 that's worth 30. And while you are doing that and you own the call, you can actually sell covered calls against it. So that can also work out quite well. And I've started to do more of those recently, and they've worked out fairly well. And then, finally, I want to mention what's so key with retirement is having a budget. So in this next part of the video, I'm going to share with you what my budget is. I've noted the parts of the budget that have gone through the roof. It's probably the same situation with you guys. It seems like my taxes on my home have gone through the roof, as well as insurance. So at this point, let's jump into the next part, and I can go into a little bit more detail as I talk about the spreadsheet and why I've set it up the way I've done it. So let's jump into the next part. Okay, now I've opened up what I call my budget, retirement budget with income spreadsheet. And it's a little bit different than a lot of other worksheets that you see out there. What I've done on the left is my actual household expenses. You can see the ones that I've marked that have increased quite a bit are the ones in red. My real estate taxes gone up quite a bit. I think it went up close to 20% this year, but I list pretty much all my different expenses. I try to keep track of these and update it. I've also used more complex tools, but I find this works out pretty well for me. And it's fairly accurate. So, I list all the different things: restaurants, pets, food, travel. I even have dental insurance. I have medical doctor, what I'm paying health insurance wise. 253. Some of you guys may be looking, well, how's that so cheap? Well, I am on Obamacare, and I do get a bit of a subsidy. So not much, but that does help out some. And then dental, I marked this as red because I recently had some dental work, and I'm amazed at how expensive it was. It still kind of shocked me. And on a monthly basis, I'm spending about 46, 44. Some stuff will probably go away, like the life insurance will stay, but I also have disability insurance, which I believe runs out when you're 60. I believe at 60 it will stop, so that will give me a little bit of a savings. But with inflation, everything else is increasing. The other one is insurance. Car insurance has been really high, and that's probably going to go even higher. Here it is right here, car insurance. My guess is when renewal comes, and again, you guys might be like, holy mackerel, you're spending $4,000 on car insurance. Now, I do have a 20-year-old son, and that's the primary reason. He's got a Mustang, and it's pretty expensive. He's going to be taking over some of his or all of his insurance soon. But I've heard through the grapevine that the rates are going way up. I've heard crazy rates, and I think Florida. And then also, I believe my homeowner's insurance also went way up. I think I'm paying, $1,800 a year. I think that's also about 25%. I believe it's going to be well over $2,000 when I renew it. So this is a basic budget that like I said, I keep track of, and I've been using this for a while. Now, the difference this time, and some of you who might have watched my previous video where I shared, just one account. Could you live off a 230 account? Now, this is my real retirement. And, so I'm not including my brokerage. This is just like, if this is all I had, could I live on it? So I do have around 460 in the two accounts, the Fidelity IRA and the Roth. 267 of that is cash. So you can see I have quite a bit of cash. And then I have 5843 in dividends from these retirement accounts. And that's on a yearly basis. So again, that probably will go up quite a bit. Hopefully, right now, again, when I converted my 401k, I believe the only investment that's been assigned to me is Corning. And I believe it was only 200 shares. So what I like to do then is list my different monthly income. So the first is the interest, and this is really accurate. It's right around that amount on a monthly basis that I get. And then Fidelity premiums, again, this is very accurate. It's probably a little bit more than this, but I wanted to show it as 1%. I'm probably closer to 5,000, maybe 5,100, something along those lines. And then these are the dividends, which is just the 5843 divided by 12. And that's, again, actual numbers from my two retirement accounts at Fidelity. And that brings in about $61.98 on a monthly basis. And again, a lot of this is being reinvested. So I'm not actually using this currently, but I do plan to use it once I turn 59 and a half. And I'll probably start pulling, if I don't need this much, because you can see my budget, it's still quite a bit less than that. The net is 1553.44, so I don't need quite that much. So if I don't pull it out, I'll just reinvest it. But I'll pull out what I need and then be taxed on it accordingly. So if I only need, 3,000 of that, then I'll reinvest the other 31.98 into, good dividend paying companies, or have it sit there as cash and earn the much higher interest rate. So that's what I'm planning until I reach full retirement age for me, which I'm thinking would be 67. And at that point, and again, this number, not again, but I think I'd mentioned in previous videos, the 2216 that I mentioned here, which is from, I believe it was my statement 2 years ago, so that's probably higher. It's probably closer to 2,400 on a monthly basis. But at 67, my full retirement age, I'd be bringing in close to 8,400, or a little bit over 8,400. And then I adjusted the budget by inflation, a kind of a rudimentary way of doing it, but I still have a fair amount coming in above that. And that's how I've been kind of planning it. This doesn't even take into account my brokerages. Well, I call them my Schwab Broker 1 and my Schwab Broker 2. But this is a fair amount to be able to live off of. So just with my retirement accounts. And my goal is, I was thinking before, which I should have no problem being able to do it, was to get both of these accounts closer to 500. So if I can get a 10 or 12% plus the 5%, I should be in the 500s when I get to a little over a year from now, and start taking some of this money out as I need it. So like I said, this is kind of how I plan it, and I'll look at making different choices, and it's given me the flexibility to, one thing I am doing is trying to take less out of my brokerages and build those up a little bit, and knowing I have this extra money coming in, and especially Social Security, starting at 67 can make a big difference. Now you might ask, well, why don't I take it at 62? I would take it to 62 if I have health issues. Long time ago, I did have cancer. I'm a long-term cancer survivor. If something happened and my health went south, and I probably would take it at 62. But the impact of once you start taking it, the limits on what you can earn really kind of are a big hindrance. So I really want to push that off to 67. And, a lot of what I've read and other people who are retired that I talk to, it's pretty clear that, most people have plenty of money. So my advice that I've picked up, and the advice I like to provide to others, is be sure you're having a good time, because again, you're going to spend less in retirement than you think. And then as you get older, you spend less and less. Once you're in your 80s or 90s, you definitely will be a lot less active. My dad is currently 84, and he's still fairly active, but nothing like he used to be just a year or two ago. So that's what I wanted to share with you. As always, if you have comments, questions, or concerns, or you don't agree with what I've shared here, please let me know. I typically try to answer all my comments, and I do like to get some interesting dialect about it. So thank you for joining me, and see you next time.